right.
Yeah. And then come back on the last session, right? And that's it. Then you get your brilliant credit for all the stuff you get. Okay, that's Psalm 89. Doesn't that fit well with the Davidic covenant? Right?
Can I just say and the other thing that pops up again and again is what you said, a word called Unitarianism.
Yes.
These people were not anything but strict Unitarian monotheists. That is, they only believed that this God of theirs was one single subject.
Absolutely. And that's a beautiful thing. And then, is this a minor, boring argument about doctrine? No. You've got 1 billion Muslims out there, right, who will not come near you as Trinitarians. You've got millions of Jews who will not come near you. See that? This is a huge topic, by the way, and a huge heritage that you guys have been given. God is one. Because God is to be worshipped in spirit and in truth. So I don't recommend you try to worship him in error and untruth. That might be a bad idea. Okay, so I'll go for another hour. Finish this off and go back. Tell me about, you wrote good stuff. Tell me in a few sentences, if you wouldn't mind. What is your impression? You've read a lot of my Kingdom stuff now and ancient texts. What have you gained? You know, you've known this, but what have you seen that's brand new for you?
Something that's new for me. Just how prevalent this kingdom message is throughout the whole Bible, and that you can equate like the gospel with the gospel of the kingdom or any other gospel, or however they word it in the Bible. You can equate with the gospel of the kingdom.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense actually, doesn't it? If you want a royal family, then you do the gospel about the kingdom.
Yeah.
But you'll find, you see, that phrase is not used. You can listen to preaching. If the gospel of the kingdom phrase is not there, you might be concerned because it doesn't sound like Jesus. So make sure that, have that phrase, gospel of the kingdom, in your vocabulary all the time. That's good.
Probably the coolest thing that I learned throughout this whole class was that a lot of people like to think of like the gospel that Jesus was preaching the whole time was about his death and resurrection, but when you pointed out that the first time that he preached about his death and resurrection was in Matthew 16, and you see in
give the man an A.
Yeah.
Straight up. You got that? You got it. I found it very riveting. It's not that we know so much. We don't know so much, but people don't know anything much. That's what's scary. If you poll congregations, you'd be amazed what they don't know. They know about John 3:16, which is fine. But and again, this is my own testament, because I was there for 20 years of my life. I was in church. I didn't know any of this. That's a very strong testimony. It was me. I was there. Couldn't have told you a word about any of this. Not a word. I've been through the best schools, where we did chapel every day. I don't know. Not a word. So something has happened. There's a very strong testimony. Hard to beat it out of a person. But you got it from your parents. It's great. Are you third generation or fourth generation church God, or do you know?
I don't know.
No. Your mom and dad, you have always been in.
Yeah, and I know at least 4 generation. I'm not sure.
Amazing.
How far it goes.
You plan to graduate from here?
Yes.
Good. It's a noble task, and I'm thrilled for you. You may have to have a tent making thing on the side. And I've said to the students over the years, don't rely on the fact that necessarily you'll get a full-time salary doing this. You may, but you may not. So, okay, tent making. You have another skill. What are you good at that you would do as a money-making skill?
I'm not sure.
What is he good at? It's too modest about his time.
He's good at all sorts of things, but I think that he definitely going to be a great pastor. I
think so too. Got a heart for people. That's great. I made a mistake. I thought we finished at 11. We're going until 12 then. While you were out. Biggest mistake of my career. No, I was just asking what he, from his writing, what he got. And he gave the right answer. The cool thing was that only in Matthew 16:21 did Jesus begin to talk about his death and resurrection. That is cool. if only because people don't know. So make sure your congregation knows that. Then they can have fun with their Bible study. That's what I want. I want them to do something. Oh, wow, this one. Yeah, this one. Was that Bacheris? Remember, Unitarian pilot friend Juan Bacheris? Yeah.
Oh, right.
You know, he started reading his Bible. Ooh, here it is. One God. Ooh, here it is again. It's quite funny about that. He was a Delta pilot who converted to our faith. Okay, tell me what, in a word or two, Jacob. What have you taken on board new? By renewing this study.
Yeah, what I'd never really realized before, I guess, was that, Jesus didn't really start talking about his death and resurrection until closer to the end of his ministry.
That's right. Isn't that amazing?
And if you realize that, then you have to ask yourself, well, then what was he talking about?
Cool. I think that's fair question.
The rest of the time.
You know what I love about this? It's unarguable. I love things that are unarguable. See, nobody can argue that. I'm tired of arguments, actually. I see enough of it. It's just a madhouse out there. They're all sort of, especially Church of Christ people. They're still mad at each other. Vicious, but this is a very simple and eye-opening thing. How about you, man? What have you seen new from your writing?
The biggest thing that I've gained from it, homework-wise, is a perspective of how little people know about it. Like, I posted on a blog asking them, what is the gospel? And the answer I got was death and resurrection and 1 Corinthians 15.
That is also a very good answer. Just go to 1 Corinthians 15. Follow that comment. Great. Yeah. I go home at night after we start thinking, I don't think I've deceived these people. I don't think I have. Because that's the worst horror of any teacher or preacher I want to mislead them. I sat there in Armstrong, being misled for a long time. I don't think so. I think Jesus would have to say, you basically got the idea right, with all the falsehood. Okay, 1 Corinthians 15 is as follows. Now, I make known to you, note that make known that we get in the parable of the sower. God has made known, he's revealed. I am making known to you, brothers and sisters. When you read that, I recommend you always say brothers and sisters, because that's what he implies. The gospel, it gets my attention, which I preached to you, which I evangelized to you, I heralded to you, which you also received. Notice he didn't say you accepted Jesus in your hearts. It's a bit vague. The gospel which you received, in which also you are standing. I like that, right? That's a standing event. You've got the gospel. You're Christian. By which also you are being saved. Please also alter your translation then. You're being saved. Another thing that people don't know. They thought they got saved and that's it. Wouldn't matter what they do. They still go to heaven. All that's wrong. No, you're being saved if. It's your chance to do your Georgian. If, right? If you hold fast. That's the parable of the sower in Luke. Jesus said, the good ones are those who hang on, hold fast, cling to the word which I preach to you. Unless, of course, you believe in vain. I'm presupposing you believe what I taught you, Paul says. For I delivered to you, now this is key, as of first importance. It's not the only thing. So Paul is not suddenly becoming a Billy Grahamite. Because if he did, he would have rejected Jesus. And as Bill Wattell used to say, traveled with him a lot in preaching, he would say, if Paul preached a different gospel than the gospel Jesus preached, he would have put himself under his own curse, preaching another gospel. It's a good line, I remember that, to prove. Right? I've sat through hours of Spanish Bibles that I can understand that Spanish Bible stuff. Don't speak it well at all. Speak it at all, really, but Bill said that, and it stuck with me. Paul would have put himself under his own curse in Galatians for preaching another gospel if he'd preached other gospels that was different from Jesus. So I delivered to you en protis. I'll even write the Greek word for you so you have this. En protis, which in Greek means among things of first importance. But why is he dealing with part of the gospel? Because that's the issue, right? They're not denying the kingdom. These dear people are denying the resurrection. So he's obviously tackling that particular thing. So I delivered to you when I preached the gospel among things of first importance. not the whole deal. What I also received, that Christ died for our sins according to the scriptures. He sees it in the Old Testament. That he was buried and that he was raised on the third day, according to the scripture, and appeared to a list of people, including Paul as the last one. And to be an apostle, you must have seen Jesus alive. You and I have not. We're not apostles. That at all. So, among things of first importance, right? Fortunately, some of the commentators get this right too. He never said that's the only thing I preach. Guess what? That's the verse that your blog, right? You tried this on the blog, Madison, probably. And immediately you got the reaction. It's inevitable, right? Jesus died and rose. It's not wrong. It's a good start. You can be pleased about the start, but this verse is not fairly treated when it's made to say that Paul didn't preach the kingdom, right? That would contradict everything else Paul said in Acts. You see why the 8 Acts kingdom text is so important. We all got those, the final test, 1:3, 1:6, 8:12, 14:22, 19:8, 20, 24, 25, and 28, 23, 31. And that's the point you just know. It's like you know the ABC. You can see why that's so important, because it absolutely proves that Paul was preaching the kingdom. Luke has made that abundantly clear. Although Paul in his letters doesn't mention the word kingdom as such all that often, probably because if you're in prison about to have your head chopped off, you probably don't want to hasten that by telling Caesar about a kingdom. That may be the reason. But he certainly believes it, as we know from the book of Acts. Okay, so that's en protis, as of first importance. Among things, what does it say in my margin there? Among the first, right, that's correct. The Greek literature is among things of prime importance that Jesus died, of course. And without that, there's no gospel. That's quite true. You got that part. Okay. We did Psalm 89. We didn't quite finish it, though. Go back to Psalm 89 a second, please, which is comment on 2 Samuel 7, the Davidic covenant. Psalm 89, the end of book 3 of the Psalms, which is interesting. They do kingdom stuff and people. Psalm 89 goes as follows. I'm going to pick it up then at verse 19. Once you spoke in vision to your godly ones, said, I've given help to one who's mighty, I've exalted one chosen of the people, I found David my servant. Read yourself into the text. You're the Davidic people that God has found. God has got his eye on you. He's watching you, picked you out. With whom, in verse 21, my hand will be established, my arm also will strengthen him. The enemy will not deceive him, all the sons of wickedness afflict him. Well, you will go through afflictions and tribulations. We know that from 14:22, but not ultimately. I will crush his adversaries before him, finally, and strike those who hate him. My faithfulness, my chesed, my loving kindness will be with him, and in my name, as by my authority, nothing to do with the Hebrew name, his horn, that's the symbol of power, isn't it? I'm not a hunting person. But other people shoot on our land, but the horn is the symbol of power, obviously. Symbol of power will be exalted. Doesn't it say in the Bible, humble yourself before the Lord, and in due course he will exalt you? Doesn't it say you are to seek for glory and honor? You are to seek it, right? Oh, no, that's a holy place. I'm not seeking it. Yeah, you got it. That's what it says. Seek first the kingdom. It also says, seek in Romans 2:7, it says, seek honor and glory and immortality. And as a result, you get the life of the age to come.
That's Philippians 2.
It's also Philippians 2.
Exalted.
Jesus was super exalted, and you're going to be super exalted. The greatest man on earth was John the Baptist. But the least in the kingdom will be greater than John the Baptist. Got it? The least significant person in the kingdom will be far greater than John the Baptist ever was. I would think so.
We don't often think of David as the Messiah.
No, we should.
In verse 20.
Absolutely. Right there. Thank you. Yes.
God anointed.
Absolutely. My holy oil, I've anointed him. Good point there. He's Anointed, of course, you know, is Messiah. You know that. Mashiach is one anointed with oil. Oil makes things work, doesn't it? So, anointed person. Did you know that the patriarchs are called messiahs? You must have that there in your margin. Psalm 104, just glance over there a moment. Psalm 104, slightly ahead of where we are. We've got this. Yes, this is beautiful. It's so much all about land and sea. Psalm 105. Give thanks to God. And we could read this for hours, the same material. Seed of Abraham, verse 6. Psalm 105, verse 6. Seed of Abraham, sons of Jacob. He's remembered his covenant, verse 8. The word, oh, I get it. Covenant word, right? Word of the kingdom, word of the covenant, which he commanded to 1,000 generations. The covenant which he made with Abraham. Whoa, Abrahamic faith. His oath to Isaac. Then he confirmed it to Jacob as a statute, to Israel as an everlasting covenant. What's the Hebrew word for covenant? Do you remember that? Berit, B-E-R-I-T-H. That doesn't mean that Britain is covenant man. It's the Anglo-Israel thing. No. Brit happens to be the covenant word in Hebrew. Saying, I will give you the land of Canaan. Why didn't it say, I will take you to heaven when you die? That is unimaginable in Scripture. So you've got a lot of work to do. As the portion of your inheritance, 12, when there were only a few men in that. Very few and strangers in it. Green card people. They were strangers, resident aliens. That's right. Few. Jesus said, strive to enter by the narrow gate, because few find it. Whoa, wait a minute. Beware of false prophets in the same verse. Watch out for the fake preaching. It's going to keep you out of the kingdom. That's what Jesus is saying there. Beware of false prophets. Few find the way to life. Few men and strangers, few men and women, strangers in it, verse 12, 13. They wandered about from nation to nation. Well, some of you did. You wandered out of Canada. Here you are, right? Real Abrahamic person. You came from Michigan. That's where my wife's from. So people from Michigan are, by definition, very good people. I used to call it Michigan. I didn't know. Michigan. I learned that. No, Michigan. Illinois. I'd heard of that in school vaguely. Somewhere over there, there's a place called Illinois. What? Never imagined I would live there, much less in Georgia. It's crazy. I'll tell you what happened. The Bible will hold me. That's what happened. Okay. They permitted no, or he, rather, God, in verse 14, permitted no one to oppress them. God will only let you be tested up to a certain point. And that may be very tough. I won't. It may be very tough. But there's other bits there. And out of it, something great will come. You reprove kings for their sake. Do not touch my messiahs. There it is. Messiahs, plural of messiah. That's in verse 15. Do not touch my anointed ones. Thanks to the lead Carlos gave us there about the anointed one. Do my prophets no harm. So Abraham and Isaac and Jacob were prophets. They're messiahs. And you are, according to your notes, as 2 Corinthians chapter 1, you're the anointed ones. You're messiahs too. Little m, if you like. 2 Corinthians 1. You're anointed people. Against your JW friends at the door who don't believe that you can be the anointed unless you're 144,000. You've got a lot of work to do. That's just nonsense. They're also rams. They're going nowhere fast. You've got to help them, right? Okay, so you're the anointed ones. Oil apparently makes things flow. You anoint priests and kings with oil to make things work. And Abraham and Isaac and Jacob were messiahs, Mushishim, plural. Mushishim, plural ending on Messiah there. Don't hurt my prophets. He called for a famine in the land, broke the whole staff of bread, sent a man called Joseph, key guy, right? You want to look at rulership, not resident, but the Navy SEAL. So I said, joking to the students, so have you got a job? Yeah, I'm working at Pizza Hut now. Are you manager yet? That was Joseph or Daniel. What happened to them? They were God's people. They went to the top, right? The government was clever enough to put them in charge. So I say, jokingly to our students, boy, watch out. They'll make you manager after. When they see how well you work, how good you are, they'll promote you. And you're going to be promoted. You won't see nothing yet. Because God is working to make you fix the world. Joseph was sold as a slave. So there's the downside, right? You may be, slavery for a while may be very hard. They afflicted his feet with fetters. How awful. Put him in jail. He was laid in irons. We were taken to court by some people. Closest I got to jail. I could have been in jail. I could have. The judge was kind to me. The king sent and released him. The ruler of peoples set him free. He made him lord of his house. Isn't it interesting, right? Put him in as boss. That's why if you work at Pizza Hut, watch out. Where do you work?
Me?
Yeah.
I can't work. I don't have a purpose visa.
Oh, delightful.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So you're on welfare, right? Yeah. Can't work.
Good thing I saved up money.
Yes, indeed. That's right. It also says parents should lay out for their children.
I sure did.
Yes, he did. He made him lord of his house, the boss, right? Joseph was a smart guy, wasn't he? He rose to the top in Egypt. In fact, he was so close to the top that, Pharaoh said, you can be everything except my chief position, everything but being Pharaoh. Short of that, you are. Rule over his possessions, to imprison his princes at will, he might teach his elders wisdom and so on. The rest of it, it's all messianic covenant kingdom stuff, isn't it? You're going to see that more and more in your Bible study. So back to Psalm 89 to finish that off then, very quickly, Psalm 89, Messianic Psalm. Also Psalm 72, which ends the second book, all about the kingdom. Psalm 89, which ends the third book, all about the kingdom. That's what they sing about when they really want to get excited. Psalm 89 then, found David, my anointed one. Carlos's verse there in verse 20. Enemy will not deceive him. We did that. My faithfulness, my loving kindness, horn will be exalted. 26. He will cry to me, you're my father. Please notice, against our JW friends, the key address to God in the New Testament is Father. Yes, Israel calls God Father a few times. In Isaiah it says, you, Yahweh, are our Father, right? But when Jesus says how to pray, it doesn't say Yahweh, right? It says our Father. It's a more intimate thing. How do they remember Jesus as having said Abba? Which is not daddy, that's too, a little bit, too familiar. Father, dear Father, something like that. Abba, Father. That's the relationship of us then to God. He'll say, you're my Father, my God, and the rock of my salvation. I also will make him my firstborn, the highest of the kings of the earth. Firstborn, Jesus actually was not the first one born. I mean, he wasn't born before Joseph, obviously, in that sense, but he is the preeminent one. And he's the highest of the kings of the earth. He's the senior king, top general of the kings of the earth. Highest of the kings of the earth. My chesed, my loving kindness, I will keep for him ever. My covenant will be confirmed to him. I will establish his seed. Please note again, it's all about seed. Hence the parable of the sower and his throne. Seed and throne and kingdom. The more I've read the Bible, the more this is very simple stuff. You realize that? Very non-philosophical. It's very realistic. It's about family, husband, wife, children, seed, isn't it? About planting crops. That's a good thing. It's written for everybody, not for PhDs to argue about. His sons, if his sons forsake my Torah, please note then, tell your people, the Bible is a book about how God speaks and nobody listens. It's all about, are you going to listen to me? They didn't. They got punished. New Testament, are you going to listen to Jesus? They didn't. It's my son believed in it, right? It's all about listening to God and doing what God says. That's very easy, like with your children. It's fun in the supermarket sometimes. And the child is either behaving or not, but sometimes you see they're not behaving. And they're out of control. You see that. And then when the child does something good, mother will say, it's very merry, good job. Good job. You done good, right? Good job. It's exactly with God, right? He speaks, but nobody's listening. And often in church, they're listening less than anything. A mindless operation. They go to church and say, I believe that Jesus is begotten, not made. So I'm asking my friends in the band and other places, what do you mean when you go to church and recite the creed? He said, Jesus is the Son of God. He's begotten, not made. What does it mean? No idea. Or what's the gospel? Right? It's fascinating. People, I didn't know.
You know, it's interesting, verses 26.
Yeah.
David's my God
Mm-hmm.
is echoed by Jesus in Revelation
Of course.
3,
Yes.
4 times at least. It
Yes.
says in the temple of my God.
Yes.
So David's my God is Jesus my God.
Exactly.
And verse 27, David is the firstborn
Mm-hmm.
in status, as you said,
Yeah.
not from
Yeah, he wasn't. He was the
not
eighth
as
son.
in time,
Right.
just like Jesus.
Yeah.
He's the firstborn
Yeah.
of many
Brothers.
brothers and
That's
sisters.
good. Beautiful stuff.
So it's all
Yeah,
Jesus.
it all fits well. If his sons forsake me, then if they violate my statutes in 31, if they don't do what I say, keep my commandments, then I will punish their transgression. So God chastises his children. I get it. If you step out of line, he's going to find a way to try to bring you back into line. And their iniquity with stripes. But I'll not break off my loving kindness, my chesed from him, nor deal falsely with my faithfulness. My covenant, my berit, my covenant, I will not violate. I will not alter the utterance of my lips. Once I've sworn by my holiness, I will not lie to David. His seed will endure forever, his throne as the sun before me. And then in verse 38, the whole thing changes. But you've cast us off, God. Right? What's happened? God made this promise. What we see is chaos. What's gone on here? Well, they're being punished, of course. You've profaned his crown, verse 39. You've broken down his walls. You've brought his stronghold to ruin. 41. All who pass along the way plunder him. He's become a reproach to his neighbors. Anthony, your narrow hips are going to burn in hell forever. Get some of that too. You have exalted the right hand of his adversaries. So it appears to have all gone wrong, doesn't it? But it's always in verse 46, how long? You might find yourself praying. Okay, how long can I put up with this, you know? I thought you were a God of mercy, giving, wait a minute, doesn't look like that. So how long, O Lord, will you hide yourself? Remember what my span of life is. What vanity created all the sons of men. What man can live and not see death? I don't know of any. What man can live and not see death? If you happen to be alive at the second coming, you would be in that category. No doubt at all. Wow. Well, your former loving kindnesses, O Lord, which you swore, the sworn covenant, David. You know, the more I read this, it's very simple, isn't it? Very straightforward, but you must make sure your congregation understand this so they can enjoy reading and teaching it too. When they teach it to others, then you know you're making progress. Where are your former loving kindnesses? Verse 50. Remember, O Lord, the reproach of your servants, how I bear in my bosom the reproach of the enemy, right? With which your enemies have reproached, O Lord, with which they've reproached the footsteps of your Messiah, your anointed one. That's it. Then he finishes, blessed be the Lord, amen, amen. That's the conclusion of the book. That's interesting. What got him excited was this kingdom gospel thing. Okay, what do you think? Any comments at all? I mean, what can you say? You're speechless in the way I am. And what else to say? I think we've got a lot of work, though. The danger with denominations always is that they take for granted what they've got. That's what you work against all the time, right? Very difficult to make people see afresh, you know, what they've always had when it comes to tradition. So I think that's a challenge for the young pastors, wherever you may be.
This paraphrase on verse 32.
Yep. What do I
I
have
will
there?
I will punish their rebellion by beating them with a club.
With a what?
With a club.
Club, yes. Yeah, so you may be punished. Yeah.
So doesn't sound good.
Yeah. We are living in a very blessed place, though. The law is there at my door. If somebody tries to attack me during Sunday service, policeman is right there.
And verse 50, take note, O Lord,
Yeah.
or the Lord, of the way your servants are taunted.
Taunted, right? That's the narrow hips, right? Taunted. I get it. All right. So next time, then, if you've read the Kingdom book, you've read much of the Aims and Claims. You have the Our Father's book. Some of you do. You all have that. You can dip into that. Dip into anything you want. You know, to write or speak, preach the last session. I will give you a brief quiz. Things like, what does Luke 4:43 say? You're supposed to know that's the one, I must preach the gospel of the kingdom to the other cities also. What does Acts 8:12 say? I will ask you some of these fundamental verses. That'll take a short time. Then we'll get to hear from you, talk about your research paper, share what you've written, and either preach to us or hand me a writing. And I'd like to publish some of that in our magazine too. Like your names to be known across the world there. Apart from that, then we've done David and we've done Abraham. Then we move forward, of course, into the history of Israel. You know that Israel, the 10 nations, were taken captive by the Assyrians. You know that. And you know that later on, Judah was taken captive by Nebuchadnezzar. They were being punished with an eye. Do you know that Israel is going to be punished in the future? How do you react to it? What do you know if somebody says, preach to me now on the future punishment of Israel? What would you say? Where would you go? Any ideas? Look at that for a moment. At least these are a bit of a blank. Maybe?
Matthew 24, maybe?
Matthew 24? Yeah, certainly the Great Tribulation will affect Israel. More directly, let's go to Zechariah chapter 12. Now we're looking then at some of the events that precede the coming of the kingdom. It's all part of that. Zechariah chapter 12. My eye falls on Zechariah 10, talking of false preaching in 10:2, Zechariah 10, verse 2. The diviners see lying visions, and they tell false dreams. They comfort in vain. Isn't that telling? If in a counseling setting you don't make a judgment, maybe somebody's wrong, you need to say that. Counseling should not be, you're great, big hug, move on. That's not right. You are to name and call out evil. Paul does that. Alexander the coppersmith, he said, has done me an awful lot of harm. May God have mercy on him, I'm sure it's that too, but I like that text in 10:2. The teraphim speak iniquity, the diviners see lying, false visions, and tell false dreams. They comfort in vain. That's what you don't want to do as a preacher, comfort in vain. Don't purr at them all the time. I'm guilty of this. No, too nice. Let's not be too nice. Let's call it out, make clear for them to improve. Okay, in chapter 12 of Zechariah, you have this interesting thing. The burden of the word of the Lord. Interesting burden, right? Prophets carry a burden. You do too. We're giving you a burden. This is a burden, this information. You carry that with you, whether you like it or not. As an agent being a speaker for God. Thus declares the Lord, 12:1, who stretches out the heaven, lays the foundation of the earth, and forms the spirit of man within him. Don't get the fuss of the spirit. It's easy. Spirit is the operational presence of God. Your spirit is your mind, your operational presence, the influence that you pour out to people, spirit of kindness, spirit of love, and all that. Easy, flexible word. First occurrence, second occurrence is ruach. Remember ruach, the evening breeze. Isn't that nice? Genesis, ruach. Second occurrence of spirit in the Bible. God walked with them in the ruach of the evening. Take a deep breath. That's spirit, right? That's wonderful. The operational presence of God, invisible, very personal. Church of God made the mistake saying strictly impersonal. I wouldn't go there. I'd say very personal, but not a third person, right? That's the way to put it. Don't say third person, but I would think very personal, because God's spirit is God operating, very personal, coming from a personal God. Your spirit comes to us, your spirit, enthusiasm, and so on. Spirit. And then somebody asked me last week, I told you this before, let's do it for the camera. Does God have a sense of humor? Yes, God invented humor. Have you ever heard the owl saying, "Who cooks for you?" Across our forest from here comes, "Who cooks for you?" Sense of humor. I didn't invent that. So God has a sense of humor. That spirit is a humorous spirit. Spirit is a flexible term. Don't be too narrow as opposed to strict with that. No, we'll get in trouble. The spirit currently is fine. Okay, 12:2. I'm going to make Jerusalem a cup that causes reeling to all the peoples around. That's the pro-Israel part of the verse. But watch out. We've got some anti-Israel coming. Right? It's the pro and the con. God is certainly in favor of Israel, Jerusalem, in the long term. I get it. But watch out. They aren't there yet, as you're going to see. So I'm going to make Jerusalem a cup that causes reeling. And when the siege is against Jerusalem, so there will be a siege against Jerusalem, it will also be against Judah. It will come about in that day, in Hebrew, by Yom HaHu, in that prophetic day. Most of the Bible is looking forward to that great day coming, right? In that day, I will make Jerusalem a heavy stone for all the peoples. All who lift it will be severely injured. Wow, does that sound like a good thing to attack Jerusalem? It doesn't to me. Sounds very bad, isn't it? You can break your back trying to lift Jerusalem. Don't do it. A heavy burden. All who lift it, try to lift it at least, will be severely injured. And all the nations of the earth will be gathered against it. So there's coming a siege of Arab nations, presumably, big time war against Israel. But in the Septuagint version of the Old Testament, it reads as follows. In addition to what you have there, you've got this. It will come to pass in that day that I will make Jerusalem a stone trodden on by the nations. Interesting. The reason I'm giving you the Septuagint version is I think Jesus quotes the Septuagint version, and therefore I think he was reading the Greek here. So Israel is going to be a stone, think of the boots trampling, right? The military boots, trodden on by the nations. The point I'm making to you here is that they're not through yet. They're not God's good boys and God's going to just sort of usher them all into the kingdom. No, I'm afraid there's going to be punishment. Everyone who tramples on Jerusalem shall utterly mock at it. That reminds you so much of the Middle East, doesn't it? They're confronted these Arabs who want to get rid of it, wipe them off the face of the earth. Isn't that awful? Terrible. Just wipe a nation off. All of the nations of the earth will be gathered against it. That's the Septuagint. I'll read that one more time. It will come to pass in that day that I will make Jerusalem a stone trodden on. Everyone who tramples on Jerusalem will utterly mock at it, and all the nations of the earth will be gathered against it. That's probably the text that Jesus was reading. So, yes, what are you going to say?
Oh, when it says all the nations of the earth, are you limiting it to Arab nations?
I don't know that. I would think so. Yeah, of the earth. I don't know that. That's, that land earth thing is very vague. It says that all the nations were going to be taxed at the time of Mary. Well, all the land, all the earth, meaning the local area. I don't know that Iceland's going to be involved. I have no idea. But certainly in our time, ISIS and the Arabs are inveterate enemies, aren't they? We're going to kill you. In fact, I was watching a television program the other day. They're training the children to hate Americans and Jews. Isn't that awful? To train them in how to use a sword that you cut their heads off? Propaganda for little children. And they're getting guns when they're 10, 12. I mean, that is hideous. In your kingdom, you're not going to permit that. Sit down, shut up, put that gun away. Don't kill anybody. You're going to do it. But right now, I'm afraid it's not working that way. So there's a hostile Esau against Jacob, isn't it? Two brothers, all right? Brothers, Ishmael and who's the other one? Ishmael and Jacob. Isaac, sorry. Ishmael and Isaac, this inveterate hatred. They hate each other. And all the stuff about the settlements, dividing the city and all that. Will they have a temple? It's very hard. I think they will eventually. Some sort of temple building. It's very hard to do that now. Anyway, you know that story. Okay, so there's coming a time then of trouble in Israel. However, it gets better. The story gets pro-Israel in verse 8. In that day, the Lord will defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. The one who is feeble among them in that day will be like David. And the house of David will be like God. Can you imagine that? God's good people, the seed of David, which is you, as well as converted Jews at that time, they'll be as strong as Elohim. So they're going to be prevailing, but not without punishment. before. Verse 9, in that day I will set about to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. So I wouldn't want to do that. They're going to get destroyed. Now, in chapter 13, if you can bear this, this is the most depressing part of Scripture there is. It will come about in verse 8 of chapter 13. In all the land, declares Yahweh, that 2 parts of it will be cut off and perish, and the third will be left in it. 6 million Jews right now, 2/3 gone. That's what it says. You can ask rabbis about this. They, almost with tears in their eyes, they say, I believe it's true. It's coming. 2/3 of the nation, 1/3 left. That's awful. That's in Zechariah, chapter 13. Now, people have tried to say, well, this was the Holocaust, Nazi Germany. In the land, I'm not sure that was the land, right? I wish it were. Wish we could say all that was over the Holocaust, you know, the time of my youth, when my mother and nanny, whom we employed, were armed with shovels and rakes, ready to attack, to counterattack the Germans who came 22 miles across the channel. That was how close we were. It didn't happen. However, Hitler, as you know, murdered 6 million Jews. My wife would want me to say, yeah, but what about also 60 million babies have died? Think about that. Right? Controversial subject. I want to go with that one. People don't like that. That's awful too. Then he brings a third part, verse 9, through the fire of trial, refining them. I get it. This has a refining process that you also are going through. As Peter says, you're going to be refined like gold. Test them as gold and tested. Haven't you got a marginal reference for Peter there? Bet you have. Yeah, Peter would have a reference right there. And then, guess what? They'll call on my name. And I will answer them. And I will say, they are my people. They'll say, Yahweh is my God. Isn't that beautiful? That summarizes the whole biblical picture. God punishes very severely. The result is conversion some. Chapter 14, behold, the day is coming for the Lord, when the spoil taken from you will be divided among you. So that's pro-Israel now, right? The spoil taken will be divided among you. I will gather all the nations against Jerusalem. That's bad. To battle, and the city will be captured, houses plundered, women ravished, half of the city exiled, but the rest of the people not be cut off. So you've got 2/3 of the nation decimated and 1/3 of the city remaining, 2/3 cut off. I'm not sure you want to preach that every Sunday night, but your people should be aware of that. It's the grim part of the story. In that day then, or verse 3 rather, then the Lord will go forth and fight against those nations who were attacking Israel, as when he fought in the day of battle. So God is on the side of Israel eventually here, having punished them. In that day, his feet, this would have to be Jesus' feet, Yahweh's feet, yes, but you know that in the New Testament, Jesus does the Yahweh work, right? The Old Testament always talks about the second coming of Yahweh. You know in the New Testament.
He's going to make ready the way of the Lord.
Right.
He comes to make way to.
Make ready for Jesus to come as the agent. Yeah. Okay, so in that day, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives. Now, here's the picture that you can carry around, preach on it sometimes. Probably when Jesus comes in the sky visibly, post-tribulation, he will go out into the wilderness, probably first of all, and organize the theocratic kingdom. He'll introduce Madison to Abraham and appoint you a position of the kingdom. Probably. Then he will march into Jerusalem from the east, text in Isaiah, a highway for our Lord. And so you can say this to your audiences, the song which goes like this. That'll get the audience's attention. Sing and preach and say, that's saints go marching in. Quite literally, probably. Why not? From the wilderness. So the rabbis have a tradition along this line that when the Messiah comes, he withdraws into the wilderness, possibly that extra 45 days in Daniel 11, extra 30 days first of all, an extra 45 days, where he's organizing the kingdom. Possibly the Messianic banquet there, Possibly the desert would blossom like a rose. That's possible. You'd have a party like you ain't seen nothing. You're immortalized. As Jesus comes through the sky, you are immortalized. Against the Christadelphians, who say that you have to be raised mortal to decide God's going to give you in the throne. This denomination divided from the Christadelphians on that point. You may not know. It's called the doctrine of mortal emergence. Christadelphians teach, and they teach some of the same things we do, they teach that you have to be raised, you Christians have to be raised mortal in order for God to decide the throne. In a moment, in a twinkling of an eye, you're immortalized as Christ comes through the sky. The dead in Christ rise up with the surviving Christians, meet the Lord in the air, escort him in the direction which he's going towards Jerusalem. Probably then, first to the wilderness, and then he marches in and takes over and puts his feet on the hill. You get it? Not putting his feet like that, perhaps, this is a little speculative, but it's pretty good. He marches with the saints up onto the hill as David took over from the Jebusites one time, and then the kingdom of God is established, and the Antichrist is killed. So there's a single Antichrist coming, you know that. That's 1 John 2:18. You've heard that Antichrist is coming. That's not wrong. Let me tell you, there are Antichrists at work, right as John wrote. And the Antichrist says that Jesus is not human. Keegan Chandler, your good colleague, I hope you get to know Keegan, by the way. He's good. I think he'll come and do a class here, teach a class. He's a good guy. Encourage him. He's terrific. And he's written a book called The God of Jesus in the Light of Christian Doctrine. He's 28 years old, 2 little boys. Quite remarkable. And he's writing now for our conference on how Jesus was turned into non-human. These are huge issues. An angel Jesus is not a human being. You can't be an angel passing through the wall and be human. You can't be God and human at the same time. That doesn't work. 100% God, 100% man. Nah, it's 200%. That doesn't work. Don't need that. It's easy. Jesus is a man Messiah. I don't need someone to one. All of that is your burden, part of your burden to teach people these things. So what if then he marches up onto the hill, places his feet on the Mount of Olives there, and then the world has to begin to obey Jesus. And it can take time. It's not going to happen overnight. People in Ethiopia say, what's going on here? We've heard something happening here. People in far-flung countries will hear by the television some space invader has arrived, something like that. I don't know. That's the kingdom of God. That vision, I think, is what drives you. And hope is the essence of it. Okay, that's speculative. If you want to read up on that, for the sake of the camera, let me just mention the book that does all of this. It's called The Kingdom of our Lord and Savior. Lord and Savior. And it's by Peters, Peters. Peter, it's 3 volumes, a lot of stuff, but it's kind of fascinating. I've had time to delve into some of that. He was a Lutheran who got very interested in the kingdom of God and wrote The Coming, I think it's actually The Coming Kingdom, probably The Coming Kingdom here. Coming Kingdom. Our Lord said. He goes into all this detail. And others have too, something called Newton, not Newton science, but another Newton, Tregelles, and Plymouth Brothers, the group called the Plymouth Brethren, did very good work on this. So we're not inventing this, but that's a good read. Occasionally you can dip into some of that stuff. Inspire it and give you sermon material, preach on all this stuff. So Antichrist came. Antichrist is the idea that Jesus did not come in the flesh. In the flesh means as human. So Luther mistranslated that and said, Antichrist says that Jesus didn't come into the flesh, thus justifying the incarnation. See, Luther is making John say that the incarnation is what we should do. That's false. It's not into the flesh. Jesus has not come into the flesh. The Greek doesn't say that. And all modern German translations have corrected that. It's an interesting point. Again, evil is aggressive, intentional. I read yesterday that some Jewish messianic person says the word echad is a compound unity noun. Well, it's not a noun for a start, it's an adjective one. Doesn't even know what he's talking about. Certainly not compound unity. One cluster of grapes, see, one means more than one, got it? That's a lie. Your children need to be prevented from bleeding. That's all. Child 2 knows that. So out there, the Messianic Trinitarians are trying to force people to oppose the church. I wish it were not so, but that's the world we live in. Okay, we're about through. Anything you want to comment on or voice? Sorry, your colleagues are not here. So you need to hear all this stuff. It will be online though. Which site? The Abrahamic Movement.
Up there.
Up there, all right.
YouTube.
It'll be online, right. We're going to have to ask our colleagues who are not here. They'll have to watch this because we can't pass them if they're not here for 2 classes. What are we going to do? This us in a difficult position, doesn't it? Hate to fail them, but it's awful. They pay money for this. It's awful. But we have to have some rules. So you're planning on full-time pastors?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. That's a great place to be. I may have told you this before. I met Lord Montgomery at Alamein when I went to a cocktail party in Norway with Gavin. We were traveling, and he was there. And I was, just an innocent 18-year-old or something, didn't know what was going on back then. Anyway, he said to me, "What are you going to do when you grow up, when you get older?" And I said, "Sir, I don't know yet." And he flew at me like some wild thing. He said, "This is the trouble with the younger generation. Oh, well, you can't make up their mind." He went at me like a machine gun. I thought it was very unfair. So I appreciate it. You don't know yet what you're going to do. Great. God will show you. Don't worry about it. You say, "What am I good at? What do I love to do? I want somebody to pay me to do it." Isn't that good? Yeah. We've been blessed enormously this way. I mean, I really didn't want to teach French to the guy who said Bander or Mr. Becker. I didn't want to do that. I was getting paid a big salary there, American school. Came over here. I don't regret this at all. I feel very privileged to actually do this. I mean, to get paid to do this is ridiculous, by the way. So this is a blessed college. I don't think people realize, how important it is. So it's great that you're here. But you don't know yet. It'll open up for you. What are you good at on the side that you do well?
I really like doing photography.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What do you think, Carlos? He's a photographer. Would you think of having a career doing weddings and things like that?
Yeah.
Professional photography?
I would really like to do travel photography.